Welcome to this new video from helituning.com, and this video is the overview video for the T-Rex 600 ESP. So this is the electric version of the T-Rex 600 and it's the Super Pro. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through some of the key features of the kit, show you some of the components and just outline what the main options Align provide you in this kit over and above an ordinary T-Rex 600 when they first released it a few years ago. So things have changed, things have moved on, and there's some new stuff now in the T-Rex 600 Super Pro. Okay, the first thing I've pulled out to show you here is some of the components that make up the rotor head and the control system for the rotor head. The key difference is we've now got this blue anodized colour for the T-Rex 600E. Originally it was the sort of gunmetal greenish colour. With the Super Pro you also get metal blade grips. With the original T-Rex 600 the blade grips were plastic, and it was an upgrade to have the metal main blade grips. So if we just move those to one side. The other thing I pulled out here is and I'll read it directly off of the swash plate, the T-Rex 600 Ultralight Extreme 3D Edition swash plate, which is a bit of a mouthful, but when you look at it, effectively it's a very solid swash plate. The ball is very slop free in the swash plate itself. There's no movement in it at all. And it feels like a really nice swash plate. Remains to be seen how well it will wear with time, but I'm told by the Align distributor in the UK that they don't sell many swash plates anymore. So these things must be wearing much better than the original swash plates, which used to develop swash in the ball and also in the bearings. Okay, and then the last thing I've got here is the head block. And again, I'm just using this to illustrate that Align have now moved to this anodized blue colour for the electric Super Pro, and it looks pretty bling. It's a nice shade of blue, and it does make the machine stand out at the field. The next item I've pulled out here is the elevator A-arm. These are the controls that go either side of the frames for the aileron, and then this centerpiece, the elevator A-arm, is what now controls the elevator. So this sits in the machine like that, and then this clips onto the front. There's a ball link that goes here which clips onto the front of the swash plate, and that is effectively your elevator control for the swash plate. They've installed this new system to get rid of the old system, which was the plastic pitch slider that used to stick up out the top of the frames. And this gives you a much more solid control system, removes some of the slop from the system, and should overall make the helicopter more accurate to fly. These are the bearing blocks for the 600E Super Pro. They're metal, and these are the same blocks that you can buy as an upgrade for the 600N and the original 600E. But being a Super Pro, you get these as standard, so it's all metal upgrades on a Super Pro, and these are standard in the kit, and these will help stiffen up the frames and make sure you don't get any frame flex, which adds to accuracy in flight. The next thing I've pulled out here is the tail gearbox. As we can see, we've got a beveled gear at the back here, and this means that we've got effectively a torque tube or a shaft drive coming down into the gearbox here, into that plus shape there, driving the gears, which drives the tail output shaft and the tail rotor. I've just highlighted this part because it's again an all CNC part, but also it's a change from the original T-Rex 600, which was a belt drive machine, and then later you could upgrade it with a torque tube. However, in the Super Pro it comes as standard as a torque tube drive machine. Moving back to the control system now, The Super Pro comes with Align's carbon paddles, and these are the carbon paddles which are very similar in design to the V-blade paddles, and you can buy these as an upgrade on most 600 machines that Align produce. These will fit the 600E and the 600N, but they come as standard with the 600E Super Pro. These are a lightweight paddle designed for 3D, and they should give a lot of power and control response. Now moving on to the electronics, and what we have here is the LiPo for the receiver, and this is the regulator, the voltage regulator, which is powered from the LiPo for powering your servos. And also supplied is this little 5.1 volt regulator, which will drop down the voltage from 6 volts supplied from this down to 5.1 volts for a tail servo, or a servo which is not capable of running on 6 volts. So you may need to use this if you've got one of those servos, or if you've got a tail servo which can handle 6 volts and you don't need it. But I've just pulled these out to show that these do come as part of the 600 ESP. Sticking with electronics, what we have here is the speed controller and the motor. The speed controller is the RCBL100G, so it's a 100 amp speed controller, and this is the typical kind of speed controller that we've always had with the T-Rex 600. Originally it came with a 75 amp speed controller, which was later upgraded to 100 amp, and this one comes as standard with the 600 ESP. This is the new motor shipping with the T-Rex 600 ESP. This is a real lump of a motor and very heavy. As we can see on the back here, it's the RCM BL650L outrunner motor. So this is an outrunner which is actually inside of a can, so this protects fingers and the rest of the model and wires and that sort of thing from the spinning outrunner can which is actually inside there. This is a new motor for the 600 ESP. It came out as an upgrade a while ago, but it's as standard with the ESP. It's a more powerful motor than the 600 originally had, and it should provide adequate power for 3D. It's also a different kV to the original motor that the T-Rex 600 came with. This one, as you can see written on the bottom here, is 1220 kV. Designed to run on 6S as usual for a T-Rex 600. Being a Super Pro kit, it also comes with carbon blades, and these are the 600D carbon blades designed for 3D flight. I'll just show you that's the full length of the blade, white on the bottom, and then the black with a line written on it on the top and the carbon effects there. And these are a good blade. I've flown these quite a few times. They're a very responsive blade, very quick on the side clicks, nice crisp collective, a good 3D blade. I'm very happy to use these on my models. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to show you in this kit overview is the canopy. The original T-Rex 600 came with a white canopy which you could put stickers onto. The 600 ESP comes with this yellow lightning strike canopy. I'll just give you a look around it now. It's very nicely finished. There we go. And that comes as standard with the T-Rex 600 ESP. Okay, so that's an overview of the kit and contents and the key features. The next thing I'm going to do is move on to start doing the build video for this kit.